Okay. All right. So what are Mr. Morrissey's core actions?
2B and 3D.
2B and 3D. So let's take a look at 2B. So 2B, the texts are at or above the complexity level expected for a grade level. Did anyone get a chance to actually look at the text he had in front of them? So they're all excerpts from all different textbooks. It says middle school textbook, a couple articles.
Yeah, he used
so I would definitely
he used 5 different articles. Okay.
So I would definitely say they're at or above the level of his students. I would definitely give him that. Then we 2D sequence of questions
2B.
support. Oh, 2B questions or tasks require students to cite evidence from text. So I want to talk about that one in greater length. So take about 2 minutes just to go over your notes, organize your notes with a strong emphasis and focus on 2B. Okay. All right, so when we talk about his questioning, so obviously what the students were debating upon, if slaves were forced to help build the pyramids, or the other side of the debate was if they were voluntarily building the pyramids to support their families. So who can cite any example that you heard in reference to a question that either he posed or the students had an opportunity to oppose each other?
Well, I heard one of the students saying, all right, well, 25% of the people weren't slaves, 75% were, and there's no way they were beating them. I mean, kids directly said that they were being beaten, so why would they do that voluntarily?
Good one. All right, Sarah?
I would say the opposite side to that they said is that it doesn't say that they were slaves. It says that there was 25% of management and 75% of workers. So they interpreted it incorrectly, the ones that said 25% were slaves.
Okay.
And the other side clarified that fact
Okay.
or disproved what they were saying.
Debated that fact.
Freddie?
Disproved it. It was incorrect.
Debated that.
Okay. Andrea?
I didn't get to see much. I had to go help.
Okay. So I had a couple. One of them, don't people work dangerous jobs now? Absolutely. Why would everyone want to do for their family? So a couple of things that I didn't hear with any of the questioning either. And when we look at the core actions, using questions tests require students to actively use the text to answer questions. What I didn't hear at all is in document D, A, B, no one said if you look at document D, it states. For example, in document D, right after the question, don't people work dangerous jobs? In document D, it actually, each group was giving a gang or name of a group that worked on a specific pyramid. Also, why would everyone want to do it? Another one was no way they would have been buried so honorably, and that was in document C, arguing the claim that one, they weren't slaves if they're being buried so honorably in their own tombs next to the pyramid. I think it goes to the claim that everyone, the central argument was, were the slaves, weren't they not slaves? Clearly, in some of the documents, it states that if they were buried so honorably, they wouldn't have been slaves.
So did you want the kids to like cite the claims? Like you wanted kids to be like, in document C
Correct.
or in document D, I'm looking at that. Like you would have rather seen that type of debate.
I think it was a missed opportunity because Mr. Morrissey did say, well, that's conjecture. What does that mean? And the kids said, well, there's no evidence. So then all he had to say was, is there evidence in a text to back up your point? And it could have driven the kids back in without giving anything away.
Yeah.
Not only that, I think it was a mixed opportunity because, as he said at the end, it was a draw. Well, instead of it being a draw, they could have went right back to the evidence to say, well, you know what, that claim isn't correct, but that claim is correct. I think the next level of work for him, particularly with that, in that forum, doing that kind of a debate, is to have the kids go right back to their evidence. I mean, looking through some of the documents that he used prior to this, he had kids writing essays, he had kids, all of this kind of
For
stuff.
each one, yeah, they had to find the evidence.
Correct.
Did the slaves build the pyramid? Find evidence. Did you find it convincing?
I mean, I believe I heard quite often it said, okay, but there was no direct reference
Right.
to anything. So, I mean, were the kids citing evidence? They could have been, but again, you know, as it recall.
Well, you want to keep
Well,
that side.
So on their sheet here, what you will say, what they might respond with, your response to them. So and then there's a final claim sheet. So here's
Right.
my only thing. If they're going to be trying to document their arguments, their claim, should there be somewhere a graphic organizer for them to be stating their claim, but then an opportunity to identify where in the text the claim could be for their own reference?
I think that's what this is. It's by document, and then it says, what is the text saying? And then here's the evidence.
But this doesn't say what document. So, I mean,
Well,
so
A, B,
did slaves
C.
build pyramids? Yes.
In document A, is that what it's saying? In
Right,
document
but
C, is that what it's
paragraph,
saying?
my suggestion is in paragraph,
Right, or mark this up and
Right,
highlight it.
right,
ahead of
like
time.
files
To
is
support
the
your
Greek
claim.
word for tribe.
Yeah.
For
So
quick reference.
that's would be my feedback and suggestions for him. I think is a great graphic organizer, but this document doesn't drive the students back to the text, or at least from an argument's sake.
No, and that would be the next question.
Or-
All of this is
Did you
text-based.
find this evidence convincing? I would almost take that out and have them document, what paragraph, and identify the language in the paragraph to get them prepared to when they're in their debate.
But I think this was having the kids pick what side they were on.
Okay, so
So
this
they
may
had
be the
this looks like their initial, and
Yeah.
then that decided what debate they were going to have.
So
Yeah.
I think
Then
it's
when
all-
they get to this point, they should have had more evidence from
Yes.
here,
So
right? Like this
Yes.
is just getting their thinking.
So maybe
set,
on
then it's
this
the
one,
work.
Sarah, what you will say, maybe identifying this is where it goes here.
Well, identifying the document.
Well,
I
like
will
down
say
here, there's
this.
evidence, so
Yeah.
this should be more specific.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's just taking
With
this
the
deeper,
document.
highlight
Yeah.
it in here for
I
quick
agree.
reference. So then you can tell the other
But then
side.
having them use it during the debate.
Right. Like, well, if you look in document D, paragraph 2, it states, and everybody can be looking at it.
Okay.
And then the other team could come back and say,
Like,
well, in
everyone
that
should have
document,
had
it
on
also
their desks.
said,
Yeah.
right.
So if you look at this
And half of them
document,
did.
what would
Half,
you want this to read instead?
I think instead of what you will say, I think it's more like claim that you're making.
Yes. Make a claim.
And then here's your evidence.
Right. For
And then
that
make a
claim.
note,
Exactly.
highlight specific to reference during debate on your text.
Yep. Well,
Here,
that's
what
part
might
of the
other side
direction.
respond with? I think that's fine.
Yep.
And then your response to them, like, or what, so I think this is just instead of what you will say, I think it's their claim, and then making this more explicit that you want it documented on
So
here,
claim and then evidence directly from documents that backs up the claim.
which it has there, but
Right.
making it,
This is fine here, okay?
and that's
The
fine.
thing is just changing the directions a little bit to
Mhm.
make it more, precise.
And what the goal is, obviously, when the students are doing this, is literally forcing them to go back to the text for the evidence. Because they're claiming it. Now the other side has to go to document D and find it in there. And I think that was, the piece that I think was missing with all of this. I think the questions were good, but it was back and forth answers just off the cuff rather than factual information from the text.
It was a discussion versus a fact-based debate.
Yeah.
So I agree with you, and I think that's why they came to a standstill. And that's why I don't think, in many of his classes, that's what's gonna happen.
Are we ready for
Because
him?
he's gonna have a standstill, unless he does it actually in fact. They go back to the documents and, reciting actual evidence. and
So
everything.
how do we then make that a feedback statement? Like, is that our next step?
Yes, I agree. So I mean, if we
Okay.
look at the entire lesson, I think the feedback would be, is there a way to organize the conversation and debate, forcing the kids to use evidence from the text, but purposely citing evidence from the text while documenting the specific evidence really for the other side.
Well, right, and I think the feedback is even shorter, like to the point of keep the debate text-based.
Correct.
Then the steps are, adjust the graph organizer, have the kids highlight the evidence they want to refer to. Those are our little baby steps to then meet the feedback or the goal of keeping it text-based and referencing it during the debate.
You said highlight evidence, and then what was the first one?
Adjust
Yeah.
this in the directions, the graphic organizer.
Because like all the pieces are there. It's just like the next little step
I think,
pushes it.
Which is all supporting
the
this core
text.
action 2B.
Right.
You're going to bring it back
Yeah.
to the core action. We are talking about 2B.
It's evidence from the text. And we can clearly see the kids read the text. They're talking about stuff from the text, but it's not
No, he's got a
specifically
good
driving them
chunk
back
here.
to it.
The problem is it ended here.
Right.
It didn't go into the debate.
And that's one little push and one little tweak and an extra
It'll make
step
the
that makes it more.
debate also more precise and their points more
Absolutely.
precise, and it'll be.
And also, I think
Grounded
towards
in
the
text.
end, when you talk about a debate, there should be opportunities for maybe an individual to maybe switch sides. It appeared as
Yeah,
though
at the
they
end,
were
did
in.
anyone-
That's a
was
good
anyone-
point,
Right.
too.
I mean, kids
Yeah.
on the one side were like, we lost. We totally lost.
Right.
Like,
And also,
They
I
knew
think
their
in the
argument wasn't
closing
as strong.
arguments that we saw, the group that didn't really have anything, well, they would have, this was created in a way where they could have just read from
see,
this and then
Or
stated their
did they
claim.
understand that they could have, like, was there that missed opportunity for that to be part of a lesson somewhere along the way?
and
Yeah.
it's only a little extra 10-minute
Right.
addition. It's
Right.
not like we're asking
It
you to
would have
change a
been
lot.
neat to see at the end if we could have seen if someone from Group A, Group B,
Right.
after hearing all
Before he
the
sets
evidence,
at the tire, before he says
wanted to
anything.
flip, say, wait a minute.
Is
now
anyone
that I heard
convinced to
this-
join the other side?
Right. I
It
think,
would have been a nice next step, for sure.
All right. So you're
Um,
gonna run the feedback?
but then also in reference to convince to change, stating why.
Yeah,
Switching
absolutely.
just isn't enough.
There should have been some exit ticket or wrap up to the after the debate, a
Yes.
reflection
Yeah.
that the kids did.
Like first going into it, well, why did you feel a certain way? What made you change? Or,
Right.
or what
Right.
made you
So-
say?
And
that's just sort of a
citing
wrap-up.
evidence from.
But I think this is more important
Right.
if we're giving him one
So
step.
the thing is he still had 20 minutes left of that class.
But he moved on to a
But
new
then
lesson.
moved on to
That's why we left. He moved on to
Right.
mythology. He was done.
Yeah.
The debate was over.
So just a quick wrap up. So we're going to talk a little bit about the missed opportunities for the questions, but we're going to really focus on all the materials they had. We want to make sure the questions in the claims were drawing students back using the evidence from the text and the
Supporting core
feedback.
action 2B.
Yep.
Just because this is like why we're doing this, right? And especially if we want to make sure that we're
Right.
focusing
And his
on that
mini
core
action step is like keep it grounded in text.
keep it grounded in text.
And the other suggestion would be to change off the graphical organizer.
Because the kids have done all
Okay.
this work, you know what? And to go to
Call it
that
close here.
would not be a hard thing to do. Would not be a hard transition.
We're gonna have to have him sit. Where are you? Actually, you can